Coming up on today's show, Tesla recalls certain NEMA adapters for its universal mobile charger, Nissan unveils a self-driving Leaf that can tow 3 other cars, and John Deere unveils an electric tractor that sounds like a jet engine. These stories and more next on 10. Like all our content, today's show is only made possible thanks to the kind donations of viewers like you. Head to www.patreon.com/transportevolved to find out how you can make your own donation today to keep us independent and impartial. And if you're already donating, thanks for your kind support. It's Friday, December 9th, 2016. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield, and we're starting today's show with news of a voluntary recall involving certain adapters for Tesla's Universal Mobile Charger, or UMC for short. As we explained on Tuesday, the California automaker is recalling approximately 7,000 NEMA 14-30, NEMA 10-30 and NEMA 6-50 adapters for the Tesla Model S after a few customers reported that their NEMA adapters were overheating and even melting. We should point out here that the adapters affected are the more unusual NEMA adapters, ones sold separately from the UMC rather than the 2 adapters that come as standard with all UMC units. Consequentially, however, the recall should only affect a few customers, and Tesla says that it will be reaching out to affected owners in the next few weeks to arrange an upgraded replacement. Staying on the subject of upgrades, we finally heard this week that Nissan is ready to start swapping out the soon-to-be deprecated 2G Edge Telematics communication units found in 2011 through 2015 Nissan Leaf electric cars with new 3G units, so that there's no loss of telecommunications capability when its chosen cellular provider, AT&T, turns off the last of its Edge transmitters at the end of this year. Something we've known about for more than a year now, Nissan has taken its sweet time to arrange the replacement program, which it says will take a few hours per affected car. Owners of 2015 Leafs will get that upgrade for free, but those with 2011 through 2014 Leafs will have to pay $199 to continue their car's telematics capabilities, or rather Nissan SV and SLs because S doesn't have car wings. And that's got quite a few Leaf owners riled up, especially when Ford, which finds itself in the same situation with its early Focus EV electric cars, will be carrying out the upgrade free for charge. Has Nissan dropped the ball, and will you be getting an upgrade for your car? Let us know in the comments below. After those 2 slightly depressing stories, we're off to Europe now, where French automaker Renault has unveiled a new improved battery pack for its Kangoo Z.E electric car. The upgrade, following in the tyre tracks of a similar upgrade to the Renault Zoe EV battery pack, means that those buying the Kangoo Z.E can now look forward to a real-world estimated range of 124 miles per charge, placing it above the Nissan Leaf and the Nissan EMV200 electric van in the range charts. Pricing hasn't been confirmed yet, but I've got to say that I'm feeling a little disappointed that it's not available in the US, since the Kangoo Z.E in its 5-seat passenger version is just perfect for my family's needs. Oh well. We're back to Tesla with the next story, or rather, the US National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, which disclosed on Friday morning during a press briefing during the ongoing Takata airbag recall efforts that certain Tesla Model S electric cars from 2012 through 2016 are among countless vehicles from 19 different automakers that have yet to undergo the mandatory Takata airbag recall. The fault lies with the squibs used to inflate more than 46 million airbags in vehicles around the world. So far, just 12.5 million of that 46 million defective units have been replaced, something that's frustrating NHTSA greatly. Moving forward, the agency says it's going to start putting pressure on both automakers and Takata to try and speed up the rate of recalls, since an estimated 11 deaths in the US and 16 around the world have been tied to the faulty units so far, when it doesn't want any more. When will the recalls happen? That's still up for debate, although we're guessing Tesla, in its usual way, will contact customers just as soon as it has a plan to replace any affected airbag units with new ones. With literally days until the first 2017 Chevrolet Bolt EV electric cars are due to hit the roads of California and Oregon, parent company General Motors has now made the full unabridged owner's manual available online for the Bolt EV for you to peruse at your pleasure. something of a standard practice these days. It also means you don't have to keep your owner's manual in the glove box. The 2017 Chevrolet Bolt EV owner's manual gives some clues as to what life might be like owning one, as well as give us some technical information not yet widely disseminated. Information, for example, like the expected 10 to 40% capacity drop in the battery that GM expects the Bolt EV to suffer after 100,000 miles or 8 years of use, whichever sooner. Importantly, however, battery capacity is covered by GM's warranty, but it's worded in such a way that makes me wonder just what the terms are. There's no specifics mentioned as to what degradation is considered acceptable and what isn't, only stating that GM will replace batteries if deemed necessary by a technician, with either a brand new unit or one which is within approximately 10% of the capacity of the original battery at the time of the warranty repair. And if I'm honest, that's a little too muddy to draw conclusions from. We've had two not so great stories for Tesla so far today, but our next one is great news for the California company, its customers and its shareholders, because it's about the Fremont facility where Tesla currently makes the Tesla Model S, Model X, and of course will soon be making the Tesla Model 3. Previously known as the NEMA facility, Tesla's Fremont factory had, at one point in time, a theoretical maximum vehicle production capacity of about 500,000 cars per year. But since Tesla moved in, some of the changes it made to the factory have lowered that theoretical maximum output slightly. And of course, Tesla's planned vehicle output is now far more than the facility can cope with, which is why Tesla has just been approved for a massive expansion to its facility. An expansion, in fact, that will nearly double the manufacturing space by adding 4.5 million square feet of buildings where, we assume, Tesla will build its Model 3 electric car, among other new exciting projects. Watch this space. Well, we're off to another factory now, but this time it's Nissan's Opama production facility in Japan, where the automaker has just launched a new way of getting brand new vehicles from the end of its production line to the various holding areas on site before the cars are taken off with transporters. A 3-car transporter train pulled by a Nissan Leaf. Yes, you heard me right. Nissan has modified a fleet of semi-autonomous Leafs with heavy-duty tow hitches designed to pull a train of 3 single-car trailers from one part of the facility to another without anyone behind the wheel. It's a clever way to both reduce costs and test out its autonomous driving technology in a safe environment. But from the video here, it looks to be putting a heck of a lot of strain on each towing Leaf. Just look at the way that each car sits down on its rear axle and raises its nose into the air every time it starts towing. That's a car under a lot of strain. Still, I guess Nissan won't have far to go if the cars need repairs, right? Now, if you've watched this show much in the past, you'll be more than familiar with Rinspeed, a Swiss automotive design and tuning car house with a habit of rolling out some really outlandish tech-filled concept cars based on existing production vehicles. And this week, we learned about a new concept car from Rinspeed that's heading to CES in January. Called the Oasis. It's a concept designed on as much an idea of socialization rather than simply transportation, and features autonomous driving paired with a web portal service that lets users pick who they want to share the ride with. In the example video, it shows a concert violinist sharing a ride with a trendy DJ, but honestly, as a musician myself, I'm not sure the kind of salary most of us earn would make riding in a high-tech car-sharing vehicle a viable, affordable thing to do all the time. Still, we can dream, right? One of the hot topics in the electric vehicle world in recent years has been the difference between battery electric vehicles and range-extended or plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. Some purists, often aghast with the idea that a car has some form of internal combustion engine, can often get quite snippy and derogatory about those who buy a plug-in hybrid. But this week, we learned that Toyota, maker of the Toyota Prius Prime, or Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid in some parts of the world, is using the car's telematics system to offer customers incentives and kickbacks to using electric power whenever possible. Essentially gamifying driving in an efficient manner, Toyota's partnership with local utility companies in Japan is rewarding Prius Prime drivers who travel most of the time in EV mode. The further you travel in EV mode versus gasoline mode, the bigger the incentives and kickbacks. Those incentives can be used to slash money off customers' electricity bills or even be redeemed for other products and services in the area. And of course, with a drive to plug in rather than fill up, we're guessing that the next car that many participants will choose will be a fully electric one because they're so used to plugging in. So it's win-win-win all around. We're back to Renault with this story, but this time the tiny diminutive Twizy two-seat urban runabout, a car that's incredibly fun to drive despite taking up less space than a Honda Goldwyn motorcycle. And if you're into the Twizy, you might know that it's speed limited either to 80 kilometers per hour, 50 miles per hour, or 40 kilometers per hour, 30 miles per hour, depending on the model you have. And as many of you know too well, a bunch of very clever owners have figured out how to remove that restriction a really long time ago by reprogramming the motor controller with a new top speed, which I'll admit is useful when you want to go on higher speed roads. Unfortunately, however, that does break European regulations for heavy quadricycles, which the Twizy is, and I guess that's the reason that Renault has now closed the back door on owners modifying their Twizy's top speed with new controller software on all new Twizys that can't be tweaked by the user. And if you've got an older Twizy, the option is still there, if you have access to the right tools, that is. But I'm guessing Renault will close the door to those cars too with a future firmware switch when the car is in for a service. You've been warned. And finally, we're all about all sorts of cleaner, greener, safer and smarter transportation here on Transport Evolved. And I really can't think of many transportation methods that we've not now covered in the last 3 or 4 years, except perhaps the world of agricultural machinery, which to date, save for some small domestic tractors and lawnmowers, has stayed steadfastly attached to the internal combustion engine due to the massive torque of a diesel powertrain. But this week, we learned of a new full-size all-electric tractor concept being showcased by John Deere in Paris at the upcoming Paris Agricultural Show. Fitted with 150 kilowatt hours of battery packs and some very powerful electric motors, this full-size all-wheel drive concept tractor can go anywhere and do anything a regular tractor can do, and it will recharge from empty to full in around 3 hours. It's even got its own electrically powered power takeoff or PTO shaft, so that all of the traditional farm machinery can be powered on electricity alone. There's no word on price or even if it'll make it into production, but as a farm girl myself, I can't wait to get behind the wheel and put it through its paces. Come on, John Deere, get me behind the wheel and I'll do some ploughing or feeding or something else. I've got my wellies downstairs, they're ready. And that, I'm afraid, is your lot for today. Thanks for joining me, and please don't forget to leave your reactions and thoughts to the stories we covered in the comments below, as well as giving us a thumbs up and a share if you liked it, and if you didn't, give us a thumbs down and tell us why, because otherwise we can't improve, and that's what we want to do. Don't forget that you can follow us on Twitter at Transport Evolved, read our past and current articles at transportevolved.com, or check out our YouTube channel for our latest video updates. And if you liked what you saw today, please do consider keeping us independent and impartial by supporting our Patreon crowdfunding campaign from as little as $1 per month over at patreon.com/Transport Evolved. Every donation makes a difference, so if you can, your help is really appreciated. And with CES just a few weeks away, some extra pennies to cover flights and travel so that we can bring you the big stories live from the event for all of our readers and viewers would make a difference. Right now, I'm bringing in just a little less than minimum wage, so there's not a lot of spare cash for extra things, so anything you can do will be gratefully received. Can't donate? Don't worry. Just spread the word, retweet our posts on Twitter, and make sure you tell your friends about our YouTube channel. As always, I'll try to be back next week with another roundup of the latest Transport Evolved news. So all that's left for me to say is I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. Have a great weekend, and until next time, keep evolving.